You're listening to those two IM guys podcast. You'll find interviews, reviews, and interesting topics discussed inside with your hosts, Tony Earp and James Kennedy. So, what are you waiting for? Get inside!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Those Two IM Guys. I'm James Kennedy. I'm here with my co-host, Tony Earp. We're absolutely delighted that you can join us once again. Tony, how are you doing?
I'm great, James. Good morning to you.
Morning, buddy.
And obviously, welcome to our viewers and listeners. Great to be here as usual. Do you want to sort of tell our viewers and listeners what we've got cooking today, James?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to talk about lifetime access to products, courses and services today. And obviously, what's the pros and what's the cons? There is lots of pros, but there's also lots of cons as well. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So, Tony, let's kick it off.
Yeah, absolutely, James. I mean, I think people, get themselves confused with what are known as, lifetime deals. So, what are lifetime deals or LTDs? As you'll see this phrase LTDs all over the place, James, especially in a lot of Facebook groups. Yeah. And LTD, guys, it just basically stands for lifetime deal. Yeah. And they can be amazing, can't they, James, on occasion? Really get a golden nugget, but trust me, you can also get burned just as easily. Because firstly, I mean, let's be honest here, what does lifetime actually mean, James?
Yeah, lifetime of the product, not your lifetime, not the person's lifetime. The lifetime really means until this stops making money, I'm going to drop it like a hot potato. Pretty much.
Yeah, and again, I think a lot of people don't realise that, James. And I don't mean this being rude to anybody, but they go into it, naively.
Yeah. And
they think that lifetime literally does mean lifetime.
Yeah.
And as James just rightfully said, it's the lifetime of however long that software stays live on a server.
It's viable.
Yeah. And there's a lot of reasons why lifetime deals can end very quickly. And if you don't believe me, guys, just go and check out some of the LTD groups on Facebook and other social media platforms and look at the experiences that those members of those groups are having with certain softwares. And the only thing that surprises me is that they're surprised, James, to be honest with you, that things go pear-shaped,
I mean, one of the things that I like about it is the fact that I feel when I go to buy something and it's a lifetime deal, I feel as if I'm getting a deal, I'm getting a bargain, and I'm more inclined to part with my cash because it's a one-off. But when it's a monthly recurring, I need to think long and hard about it because that's something that's coming out of my account every month. I don't know how you feel about that, Tony, but do you think about?
Well, we're gonna cover my thoughts on subscription shortly, but when you purchase in a lifetime deal, there's a lot of pros and cons to that, James, for the vendor and for the purchaser.
Yeah.
And you need to be aware of certain things that you need to be looking out for and questions you need to be asking before you buy into that software. Because trust me, the viewpoint from the vendor and the viewpoint from the buyer are from two completely different standpoints, yeah?
Absolutely.
I mean, let's be honest, if you're a fledgling software business, it can be a nightmare, can't it, getting people on board to try your product?
Amen, brother.
You've no testimonials, you've no social proof, you've no proven data even, to claim that you've actually got a working solution. Mm-hmm. So as a fledgling software business, offering a lifetime one-time payment deal, it's a great opportunity for you to capture all that data and get future testimonials and future social proof, yeah?
Not to mention the capital that gives you to obviously grow that platform. And again, most people, when they do a lifetime deal, whether it's true or whether it's not, but most ethical people, they genuinely have a cap on it so that they need so much funds to take it to the next level. And then they open out a subscription platform. But yeah.
Yeah, and again, we're going to be covering a lot of the pros and cons during this episode, James, that will answer a lot of questions for people and make them actually think about what they should be looking for before they commit to buying a lifetime deal, yeah? Okay. Because I think FOMO is a great thing, James, isn't it? Fear of missing out.
Yeah.
It's a big factor in why people just buy stuff consistently and never actually use it.
Yeah.
So I think that's certainly something at a personal level people need to get under control, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, it's almost like an illness, isn't it? You know, I mean, it's like put a countdown timer on it and you're guaranteed to get a better click-through rate, without a doubt.
Yeah. And even though, a lot of these lifetime deals, they're startup SaaS businesses, they've no proven track record, that's irrelevant. Some people are willing to take that risk, aren't they, for a price?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's an investment. I mean, it's like stocks and shares are going on to Kickstarter and funding a project. It's the same thing. It might come good. I mean, I know for a fact that I've bought some absolute blinders. And then there's other ones that have been...
and this is the point we're making, James, isn't it? There are some real golden nuggets to be had out there.
Yeah.
But you've got to do your research. And as I always say, your due diligence. And a lot of what we're covering in this episode will allow you to do that. It'll allow you to cover the key criteria you need to be looking for to decide whether, am I going to invest in this product or not? So there are some great golden nuggets to be had, but also I think we both know from experience, there's some absolute catastrophes, isn't there?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And trust me, guys, it's not even about the money, James. If you're investing your time in a software that you're using in your business or your client's business, let's say it's something that you've got a snippet of code on a lot of different websites, and that software goes down, as an example, what's going to happen to all those websites?
Oh,
the functionality is going to stop working, James, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's not just about money. It's about the time you've got invested in using that software for whatever the purpose is, and the consequences of what extra work it's going to cost you, what extra aggravation it's going to cost you if that software goes down overnight. Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes as well, Tony, I think when people start online in an online business, they feel they need to get everything very quickly and need all the tools. And that saying, all the gear and no idea, because they've got all the stuff and they just don't know how to use one of the things, never mind the 20 or 30 things that they thought they needed to build their business. And sometimes it makes sense just to buy that one quality product that is tried and tested over 50, 60 products.
Yeah, I totally agree. And again, it's all about doing your research and your due diligence, James. And so, if you're not doing that on whatever you buy, but specifically with lifetime deals, because I would say, and again, I've not got exact data on this, I would probably say that at least half of any lifetime deals you ever buy will never see more than a year.
Right. Okay. I'm going to take it a bit more controversial. I would say that's more like 80%, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Again, I was being conservative.
Yeah. I would. I mean, that is very conservative because, especially depending on what platforms as well that you buy from. There is some platforms that, in my opinion, I think AppSumo deliver some really good stuff.
I'm going to go through a lot of...
Right, okay. I don't want to kind of jump...
it's all right. You're right. You're correcting what you're saying. AppSumo is one of the top platforms that offers lifetime deals. And it's a very popular one, but there's lots of others as well, which I'll be going through in this episode a little bit later. And I'll just mention at that point, James, that as usual, everything we're mentioning, all the resources, will be in a post on our website, those2imguys.com, in the recommended resources section. I will put them there as I always do, yeah. But, let's get real here, James. Yeah? Lifetime deals, they're basically a marketing strategy, aren't they? That allows companies to attract and retain customers by offering them the chance to purchase products at a highly discounted price.
Yes.
That's the reality of it, guys, yeah? The goal of lifetime deals is for consumers to buy into the brand at an early stage, and hopefully, therefore they become lifelong customers, yeah? That's the aim. But as we both know, again, from personal experience, that isn't always the case, James, is it?
No, not at all. I can remember buying into Builderall when it launched. And again, it was a lifetime deal. But when they kind of got super big, it was just a case of, no, unfortunately, we can't honour this anymore. But we can give you a discounted monthly.
But if you look at the significance of that, James, the significance of that is Builderall is still around.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They've expanded that platform tenfold, and they've got now a massive amount of customers that actually use the software day in, day out in their businesses and in their clients' businesses. So, that's a really good example actually of why subscription income is super important. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the product wasn't
the platform.
Product, as you say, what I bought at a lifetime deal is not what Builderall is now.
No. There's nothing wrong with lifetime deals, James. And it's very common these days for startup SaaS companies to have lifetime deals. They need that to kickstart the business in the early days, don't they? So don't think this is those two IM guys trying to put you off lifetime deals, guys. That's not the case. What we're saying is we're trying to open your eyes to the reality of buying into these types of products and the key pros and cons and the things you need to be looking out for before you decide to invest in them. Yeah. So let's look at it from a vendor's perspective, James. Yeah. Pros and cons of, lifetime software deals for vendors. What would you say they are?
Instant capital, more capital than they would get on a monthly. So it gives them a large amount of money upfront in advance to allow them to build a platform.
Yeah,
efficiently.
You're right in what you're saying. I would say the top three things are really greater visibility for the product instantly.
Yeah.
As you just said, initial revenue. So they're going to have a lump sum of capital that they can reinvest or hopefully reinvest back into the software. More importantly, they're going to have beta users. They're going to have beta warriors. They're going to have beta testers, beta users, whatever you want to call them. They're going to have customers that are going to be using that software, and it helps them work things out, doesn't it? It gives them really good quality feedback as to what those users would like to see added to the platform, what they like about it, what they don't like about it, the good things, the bad things, all that positive stuff, which you need to know, because we know about this from a recent personal experience, James, that just because the vendors, the developers think they've got a great product, doesn't mean that the customers do, does it?
No, exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's the market that matters, James, isn't it? It's the market that
ultimately the market pays the bills.
Yeah. So, I would say the three key things are greater visibility for the product, initial lump sum of cash revenue, and beta testers, beta customers, whatever you want to call them, that will allow them to get that really good quality feedback they need about where to go forward with the platform. Yeah. And, if things work out and everything goes really well, they may even get client referrals as well. Mm-hmm. So the people that have bought the deal are telling other people about the deal and how great it is, and they're getting those referral sales as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, sorry, lost my absolute bloody voice there.
All right, I thought you lost your place.
No, sorry guys, I've been. I think I caught it from James. I've been suffering all weekend from really sore throat. I've actually lost my throat on lost my voice on Saturday. I could hardly speak, which was my missus said was a blessing. But you know me, I like to talk a lot, James. So it was a big problem for me. Yeah. Anyway, let's carry on. So from that feedback, they'll be able to know, the vendors, this is what updates need to be done when they're getting that feedback directly from the lifetime deal customers, James. And we both know how super important that information is, don't we?
Oh, it's imperative for the platform to grow, because when you are obviously a creator, you've got a vision, your tunnel vision on the product and what you think, but you don't realize that this is maybe something that the actual users need, or something that the users want. And if you don't get that into the kind of mix, how will you ever know?
Yeah, and I totally agree. And in the outset, it looks like a lifetime deal could be a loss for the vendor, doesn't it? Financially.
Oh yeah.
Because, the new users, they're buying at a fraction of the original cost, or the cost they want to charge,
Yeah.
But knowing as I do the mentality of your typical lifetime deal business, they'll be thinking at least 30% of the people buying are never actually going to use the software, James.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so obviously that saves data, costs, etc., etc.
Because of FOMO and everything else. So if, as they expect, if 30% of the buyers never even use the software, as you just pointed out, they're going to be using reduced server costs and all that. So they're going to be getting reduced server costs.
But gym memberships.
Yeah, that's another. Well, we're into February now, James. So hopefully everyone's cancelled theirs now, haven't they?
Yeah, hopefully, cancel it now. You're not going back. You've done your 3 days.
Did you even do 3 days?
No, I didn't bother. I saved myself the bother this year.
Yeah, and just touching on what we were just saying, a lot of lifetime deal customers, let's face it, they buy purely because they're getting a great software at a fraction of the cost. Regardless of whether they're going to use it or not. It's that FOMO again, isn't it? It's that fear of missing out, yeah?
And the thing is, though, I mean, I've heard of people where they've bought a software and at a low price, and later on down the line, they don't use it, and then they can sell their software, providing it's a good product and it's gained value. I've seen it in the past where I'm like, well, I'll sell you my membership if you want it, because I'm not using it, and they can get their money back and maybe a little bit more.
Yeah. There's always that option, James. If you buy software, you buy software for an account to a software for anything, and you find you're just not using it in your business or your client's business, then why hold on to it? Offer that to somebody else who may be able to use it, and get your money back and hopefully a return on your investment as well. Yeah, especially if the software's moved on, exponentially since you originally purchased it. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So again, a few more cons for the vendors regarding lifetime deals. They're getting those early revenue streams and the users but that might give them false confidence. They're getting that early revenue and they're getting the early users, but sometimes it gives false confidence because, as we know, getting subscribers, as in on a subscription basis, it's 10 times harder, James, isn't it?
It's a tough sale.
Yeah. And if you don't get those subscription sales afterwards, if that's your business model, remember, as a vendor, you've got to maintain that software.
Yeah.
Potentially forever.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You notice I use the word potentially.
Yes. Yes, I did. No, I say for me, I mean, I definitely think that, there's so many little bits of software come up in Facebook ads. I think, oh, that's a quirky little piece of software.
Yeah.
And then I go to, I think, now I would pay $67, $97 for that because I would use it on occasions. But see, when I see it's $9.97 a month or $12.95 a month, then it's like, no, I don't need that much, and that's my feeling, because it's not something that if it's not a hell yeah, it's a no thank you for me, is my mentality now.
Yeah, I think that's a good attitude to have, to be honest with you. Guys, trust me when I say this, you can learn a lot from what James just said there, because it really is about, we say it all the time, James, don't we? But FOMO, fear of missing out, it's a real disease, guys. Trust me, it is real. Mm-hmm. And you'll hear these words bandied around, but it's true. People do have this FOMO, They really think that when this clock's counting down, when it hits zero, that deal's going to disappear forever. And guess what?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
And if it's a monthly subscription,
on a very rare occasion, it does. But generally, it's what we call an evergreen timer, guys. It'll just restart again, on the countdown. If you refresh the page next time you come across one, and you'll see for yourself,
And Tony, it might sound a little bit miserable if it's like $10 a month or $13 a month, but if you do that with 10 or 20 or 30 products, and before you know it, you're maybe $500, $600 a month on stuff that you're not really using.
Yeah, and this is why it's important, James. You only buy tools that you know you're going to use on a regular basis.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say if you're paying a subscription to any software and you're not using that on a daily or at least a weekly basis, you're wasting your money, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
That would be my gauge to gauge it by, Either you're using it daily in your business for yourself or clients, or you're using it at least every week, once every week. I certainly wouldn't carry on a subscription if I wasn't using it minimum of once a week, James. What about yourself?
Yeah, no, I'll be honest. There's one that I hold on to that sometimes I don't use as often as I would like, but there's times that I just blow out the water with it, and so much so I actually realised that by paying for it monthly, I was offered a yearly deal, which saved me 2 months in revenue.
Yeah.
So I paid it yearly, because again, 2 weeks ago, I'm like, I've hardly used that in the last 6 weeks. I'm going to cancel it, and then realised I paid for it annually this year. So. But it just goes to show you, but you need to continually reevaluate your spend. If you're not looking at your finances coming in and going out. Now, I can remember back in the day when I had a ridiculous amounts of money coming in between entertainment, tourism, and things like that. And I was buying things in softwares like a man with no arms. And you know what? It didn't really matter because I was making so much that $500 or $600 a month that was coming out in subscriptions wasn't really affecting me. But looking back now, I could have saved thousands upon thousands of dollars because I was being very haphazard about it.
And that's thousands and thousands of dollars, James. It could have been going into your savings account,
my retirement fund,
into other types of investment.
Exactly. So now I'm very, very, very cautious on what I buy.
And I think we both know as well, from our experience in the industry, as consumers ourselves, as well as buyers ourselves. Yeah. It's super easy, guys, to, before you bat an eyelid, be paying out $1,000 a month in subscription costs because you're buying unnecessary things.
Yeah.
So again, it's all about you. My gauge would be you're using it daily, or you're at least using it once a week to justify the spend.
Yeah, absolutely. Just
going back to the cons for vendors on lifetime deals, James.
Okay.
You've got to remember, depending on what LTD platform or community they're using to promote their deal, they might have to give a profit share as well.
Yeah.
So if you think
the case,
if when you look at it in that context, let's say a vendor has got $100,000 in from a lifetime deal, from offering a lifetime deal via one of these communities or platforms, websites, whatever you want to call them, the LTD communities, that is. Potentially, they're really just affiliates, James, aren't they? They're going to be on a profit share up to 50%.
And I was going to say, more often than not, it is 50%.
It is 50%, yeah. It's going to be a minimum of 30%, James, I can tell you that. But yeah, as general rule, 50% is usually the number. Yeah. So all of a sudden, when you look at it in that context, well, the vendor isn't actually getting 100K, they're getting 50K.
And then they'll get PayPal fees.
Oh, yeah. And they've got, Stripe fees, card processing fees, whatever their
last week.
Yeah. Whatever their payment processor of choice is, they're going to have fees for that as well, yeah?
Yep.
So you need to be bearing that in mind, guys. You might think that the vendor's making a lot of money off this lifetime deal, when actually, in the reality, when you take all the overhead out, they're not.
They've got enough from McDonald's.
Yeah, just about. Obviously, it'll be a large McDonald's, James.
Yes, obviously, we would supersize it, obviously.
Yeah. Another factor, another con, James, is users might want more than what the vendor is willing to give at that price point.
Yeah.
Really, a lot of customers, they want to be, what they'll do, they'll look at the plans on the software website, and if they're not getting at least one of the paid plan levels, they're not happy.
No, deservedly so. In all fairness, you're at the lifetime deal time. You're investing in that company, and you expect to be rewarded for something of way more value than you pay for, because you're putting your trust in them. And I understand that from the vendor.
Yeah, it does happen. I mean, generally, customers will look at the pricing page on the software's website. They'll look at the plans, and if the lifetime deal that's being offered isn't one of those plans, they don't like that.
No.
Now, the only difference to that, I would say, that where it is popular with the LTD community, is if the vendor put together a special plan just for that lifetime deal that is equal or better than what
that happens as well.
And that does happen quite often. So that would be the exception to the rule, yeah?
I think I got one of those with Book Like a Boss. Don't know if you ever got that one.
I don't think I have. Oh yeah, do you know something? I think I may have done actually.
That was a good deal. That was a good one.
Yeah, and there are some good ones about, James. You know, we've picked up some golden nuggets ourselves. I've also picked up some absolute
dross,
absolute ones that just need to go straight in the bin. You know.
Yeah.
So again, this is all we're speaking from experience here, guys. This is why you need to be doing your research. Yeah. Okay, so things to consider as a user before buying lifetime software, James. What would you say one is?
Do you need it? Do you need it? Is this something you honestly, truly need right now at this moment in time in your business? If not, no, don't buy it. Walk away.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I mean, definitely one of the key things to avoid is buying because of FOMO, James. Fear of missing out. Yeah. Guys, do not do that. As James just said, if you've not got a need for it in your business right now or in the near future for yourself or your clients' projects, why are you buying it?
Yeah. And the thing is as well, Tony, you might buy it right now because you think you need it in 6 months or a year's time. But 6 months or a year's time, there's many things that can happen. That business can go to the wall. More to the point, someone else might see that product, think, you know what, that's good, but it's not as good as how it could be, and bring out a far superior product to the one that you've just bought. And now you've got an inferior product that you've not used in the first 6 months anyway, and now you want the bigger, better one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and that does happen very often, as we both know. But funny you're talking about businesses going to the wall, software not being available any longer. It's been taken off the server's gone down, the company's gone out of business, whatever. Touching on that, this is why I wanted to discuss about subscription, James, because subscription, it seems to be a dirty word.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But it's very, very important for the longevity of the software.
Yeah. If they've got money coming in continually, then they can afford to maintain that platform. If not, then they can't, and it's just a reality of life. If this their business costs, even if we keep it minimalistic, say $1,000 a month to run, and everybody's paid their money up and they've got 100 subscribers at $100, they've only got a period of time where they can actually do that. Because remember, somebody got 50% of the commission already when they bought it.
Once the lifetime deal is over and the vendor's got that lump sum of money, you would like to think that a lot of that money is going to be reinvested back into the platform. But if they've not got a recurring business model, recurring subscription model going forward, they're going to have no revenue coming into the business once that lump sum runs out, James, are they?
No, exactly. It can't work.
And what's that going to result in?
A business closure.
Yes. The software is going to go offline, guys, because trust me, I know what I'm talking about with SaaS softwares, and resources and server costs for SaaS softwares are not cheap.
No, and just to enter, SaaS means software as a service, guys, which means a monthly.
Cloud-based software, guys, is what we're talking about in this entire episode. When we refer to SaaS or software, we're talking about, as James just rightfully pointed out, cloud-based SaaS software as a service, yeah? But yeah, subscription seems to be a dirty word, and it's really not, James. It's very important for the longevity of the software, yeah?
Absolutely, 100% agree. But I think it needs to be you need to make sure that you do your due diligence and make sure you buy the right software.
Yeah, and if the vendor doesn't have a subscription-based model going forward, I wouldn't buy it.
No.
Because the chances are, guys, very high percentage chance that software won't be around in 12 months' time, yeah?
No. Yeah.
And let's look at it another way. If someone's paying monthly, they have more motivation to actually use what they're paying for, James.
Yeah, exactly, because those beer tokens are coming in. That money's coming in every single month. That's every online business person's dream, where they can have so many subscribers. They've got the platform all set up, running on autopilot, paying the server costs, etc., doing little maintenance and slight upgrades, and updates continually, but the money's coming in. They're not having to find the new customers all the time because
Correct.
they're getting paid every single month recurring.
Yeah. But, I think it's fair to say that if somebody's got a subscription model going forward, there's a much greater chance of that software being around in the future.
Oh, they're serious about their business.
They're serious about the business. Yeah,
they want to grow.
Absolutely. And another key thing to consider, James, is do they have paid upgrade options? So your lifetime deal may be at a certain level, but do they have other levels that are paid upgrades? Because again, that's another type of recurring revenue coming in, James, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And no doubt that, the business owner, they'll be running, email campaigns, etc., to their base account users, their starter level users, to, be urging them to upgrade to these higher levels. Yeah.
Yeah. If you need more than what we're actually giving you, then this is an option because you're a lifetime subscriber. You're getting an upgrade at a discounted price. And again,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Another key consideration is, does the product have direction? Do they have a roadmap for the software?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we both bought into a software recently, James, didn't we? Branding agency.
Yes.
And this is by the Usign team, guys. If you don't know what Usign is, it's a very cool graphics software. So go and check it out.
Yep.
But it's by the same team that developed Usign, that designed Branding Agency. And I think we both know, James, in the long run, it's still in beta at the moment, but in the long run, it's going to be an amazing platform.
It will be. Right now, it's nothing special.
No, it's very basic right now. But what you will notice next time you log in, if you don't know already, is if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, they've got a little icon that if you click on it, it shows you the roadmap for the software.
Never seen that. I noticed that they do have the intercom button there now.
Yeah, they've got the intercom for the support, but they've also got a roadmap button. So you can see the total roadmap of where that software is going in the next 12 months.
Yeah. What's
being added, when it's being added, etc., etc.
Yeah. And if I think it's fair to assume that obviously Bertrand, who obviously founded the company, I believe Martin Crumlish is somewhere involved somewhere. I don't know if he's just an affiliate, but yes. So these are good, solid developers, and we bought branding on the strength of those two guys. Now, if I had to buy the product the way it's sitting right now, I wouldn't buy it. But knowing those guys, and knowing that what the kind of stuff that they've created years gone back,
correct,
it's just going to be sensational.
Yeah, and for me, as you have yourself, you've logged in, you've seen where it's at the moment, and personally, I won't touch it for another 3 or 4 months.
Yeah,
I'll go back, log in, and see how it's moved on. I'll see how it's moved forward then. But again, we've both invested in that, knowing we know the vendors, we know what they're about.
Yeah,
we know the quality products that they produce in the past. So we have invested right at the very start of that software, knowing that we've made a good investment for the long term. Yeah,
and even that wasn't a cheap investment. It wasn't like your $50, $100 type product. It was expensive.
Not at all. No.
But we know that it's going to be a winner. And again, that will be a subscription model without a doubt.
Oh yeah, well, if you only have to go look at their previous softwares, and after initial launch and after initial lifetime deals, they've only offered subscription after that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I think the fact that all their softwares are still around many years later,
still use them,
proves the point why subscription is so crucial to a software business. Yeah,
definitely.
So other few things to consider, James, when you're purchasing a lifetime deal, what are the stacking options? Like you mentioned AppSumo, they offer stacking options, don't they, where you can stack codes? Are there any stacking options?
Yeah.
You've also got to consider any limitations. The account you're going to get, are there any limitations on it? I think that's pretty important, yeah?
Yeah, and again, and knowing your business, because it might say, okay, yes, you can do 10,000 emails with this product, but you're only allowed 1 seat. And when I say 1 seat, it means like one person is one login. Now, if you're the only person that can log that in, and your vision of your business is you're going to have 5 to 10 members of staff eventually, then that's probably not the product for you, because why would you give control to one of your members of staff who could leave you and then steal your software technically, you know? So things like that, you want to have that vision. And again, these when Tony says stacking, it means like if you buy one lot for $50, you can buy 3 lots and it'll give you 5 times as much value or something.
Yeah, what one code equals 1 stack, basically, guys.
Yeah.
So if you bought 3 codes, you'd have 3 stacks. And as James just said, a lot of the time that may just give you more seats. So you can create additional accounts for your VAs, your virtual assistants or whatever, as your business grows going forward. Yeah.
And let's be honest, we all want to have VAs and other people doing the work, because if you're the visionary, and I think if every single person that's probably watching this right now or listening to our podcast, the reality is you are probably the visionary of your business. Now, that might sound quite eloquent and but ultimately you're the person that's got a vision going forward, and you need to be focused on that vision and allow other people to kind of take control of certain little bits so you can focus on that vision. It's important.
Yeah, definitely important. Yeah, and it could be that you're just a freelancer, James, and 1 stack is enough for your needs, you know.
Totally.
So again, this all goes about, you've got to consider the limitations. What we're just talking about, check if the software's right for your requirements.
Yeah.
Do you think people generally do that, James? Because I don't think they do.
They go, oh, wow, this looks great. It's got 10 buttons. My last one's only got 3 buttons. I want it. Give me it. Matter of fact, give me 10 stacks.
I really like the color scheme they've used.
What's that?
I'm saying that they look at the software and think, I really like the color scheme.
Green and purple, they're my favourites. Definitely buying this. I mean, it's just, guys, and again, I think this is something that a lot of people get caught up in with the kind of online casinos and online betting. It doesn't feel like real money when you're buying something online. Sometimes. So when you see this and it's only $397, it's only $397. I spend pounds, so that's only about 30 or 40 pounds, surely. No, it's not. It's a big chunk of money, guys. It's a lot of money, and it's money that's coming out of your PayPal account or your bank account or your credit card. So be very aware the fact that.
And it all goes to what we always say, James. Do your research.
Yeah.
Do your due diligence. Check if the software is right for your requirements. Simple as that.
I'm going to give you a little tip that I use, Tony. Before I buy a piece of software or I buy a new training course, I look at that price and I work out how long does it take me to make that money back doing what I'm doing now, and see if it's a long time. And then I think about it, but that's only going to make my life a little bit easier, but it's going to take me a long time to make that money back. I just don't buy it.
I mean, if any product you buy is not going to solve a problem, save you time, educate you about something, then why are you buying it, James?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I ask those questions myself. Why did you buy that, James? Why did you? But we've all done it.
Yeah, and if you're asking yourself those questions as someone that's fairly experienced, what's it like for somebody new to the business? Daunting.
It is daunting. It is, because you've got to remember the sales letter, the sales video is what it is. It's a sales letter, guys. It's a sales video. It's there to part you from your cash.
The key is in the name, guys. Sales page, sales video. The key's in the name, remember that.
We're here to take your money, that's pretty much the attitude. So make sure that you do your research. And I always look for reviews about products before I buy them. I like to check it out.
Yeah, I think, again, things to consider, James. You learn about the developer or the software company. Check out the product's website.
Yeah. If they're wearing an eye patch or they're hiding behind a Mr. X, I would always say, if you ever see one of these letters, it's like, guys, this is Mr. X. Mr. X is a gazillionaire. Mr. X is going to give you all his information for just $20. Mr. X is a lying cheat. That's why he's hiding behind the Mr. X poster. Yeah.
A great way of finding stuff out as well, James, is talking to existing customers and considering their opinions.
Yeah, I've
There's
done that
lots
many
of
times.
on Facebook and other social media platforms, guys. There's lots of LTD communities groups that you can
Are we
join.
going to talk about any of those today, Tony? Are you going to share any of those?
I will put them in. I'll put a couple that I'm aware of in the recommended resources section.
Yeah,
as I always do, James. But to be honest with you, if you just put in Facebook, for an example, LTD group, you'll be inundated with options. Yeah, just look at the ones with the most members because they're the most popular, of course. Yeah, but if you put a post in there asking people their opinions on the software, and trust me, you'll get plenty of different opinions. Mm-hmm. But the opinions you will be getting are honest opinions from people that have actually purchased that software. Mm-hmm. So they're real opinions, guys, yeah, that you can, take notice of. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. I just went in there, and again, there's lots of them. Lifetime deals and growth hacking tools, limit ltdhunt.com, AppSumo, blah, 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 mega, lots of them.
There's loads of them, James. Honestly, it's not difficult to find these groups, I promise you. But I will put 2 or 3 that I'm aware are really good communities. That I'll put the links to those in the recommended resources section in the post for this episode. Okay,
fantastic.
That's on our website, of course. Those 2 imguys.com.
That's those 2 imguys.com.
Yes, that's the one. And again, we've already touched on this, Shane, but you need to look at the roadmap. What updates are planned for the software? What future updates and future features?
Yeah,
that's super important.
And super exciting as well, Tony.
Yeah. You've got things to look forward to.
Yeah, I can remember when obviously I bought into Groove Funnels at the start, and looking at their growth map was just insane. It's like, wow, this is going to be what a ride that we're in for, it was incredible.
Yeah. And I think another thing I want to mention, James, another consideration, and a lot of people don't do it. I don't do it all the time myself. I do it on certain types of software, to be honest with you, especially the types of software where you've got a limitation on what you can use. Mm-hmm. But read the terms and conditions. I know it's boring. Nobody wants to do it. I don't want to do it. But sometimes it's necessary, because otherwise you may get burned, guys, because you didn't read the terms and conditions.
Yeah. And it's all on you, because if you're too lazy to read the terms and conditions before you part with your hard-earned cash, then you deserve to lose it.
All the vendor needs to do is make sure that they're publicly available on the website or in the buying process. If you don't read them, that's your mistake, not the vendors.
Absolutely.
Because trust me, when you have a problem and you open a support ticket, and we're going to come on to support in a second, and they say, and the vendor's support staff just get back to you saying, referring you to the terms and conditions, you're going to feel very foolish because you've not read them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's a really big consideration, guys, especially on, as I said, the types of softwares where you've got limited use and things like that. Check the terms and conditions. Okay. We touched on support, James. After sales support and maintenance. How important is that?
90% of the purchase, in my opinion.
I would say so.
90%, because
massive.
Without the support, without the kind of reaching out and saying, listen, I'm stuck. I can't understand this. Can you help? Because, I mean, ourselves, our hosting company is probably, in my opinion, the best support team I've ever used, ever. Yep. As I say, it's 90% of the kind of reason why I keep paying the big bucks to be there. Yeah,
and that's significant, isn't it? That you feel that way. I feel exactly the same way. Personally, if I can't see that a software has got a really good support structure in place, I won't buy it. I don't care whether it's a lifetime deal, one-time payment, subscription. I ain't buying it. Simple as that.
No. How often have you bought something with the best intent and you've put a support ticket in, and 3 weeks later you might get a reply? That's no good to anybody, especially if you're dealing with clients.
James, I I could tell you some horror stories, mate. Honestly, like,
Yeah.
I bought software from people that you would consider to be top vendors. Okay, people that are making a lot of money online from people like us and our viewers and listeners. Support is shocking, and I'm being kind when I say that. I'm not going to name names because, you know, people will probably be aware of these themselves anyway. But when you put a support ticket in to a so-called top software and you're not getting a response for 2 months,
it's just madness.
How is that even possible?
Yeah. Again,
I don't think that's a company. Sorry, James. I think it's fair to say that isn't a business that takes support seriously.
And that worries me. That really worries me. I can remember I bought from probably the biggest marketer, copywriter, expert on the planet at one time. Bought into a program, an education program.
Yeah.
Again, I bought 2 parts. I only got one. And they never gave me the other part. And I'm like, can I have a refund for that one part? And then they refunded it and then shut me down for the whole lot. And still haven't received my money.
Yeah, and it's sad, James, but we both know from personal experience these things happen.
Crazy.
Just over a year ago. Note what I just said there, guys. Just over a year ago. Okay, I paid best part of $1,000 for the full funnel for a particular software by a top vendor, apparently. Yeah, that software now no longer exists. There's a software in its place, but it's a completely different software that I never purchased.
We've had that chat, haven't we?
We have had that chat on a personal level, James. Yeah,
crazy.
And more importantly, I've never ever received any correspondence to say why that's happened.
And when you think about it, like going for something mainstream, now I don't know what that product did, and I don't want to ask because obviously it might make it quite apparent who it is. But if you were buying something more mainstream software, even if that software was $100 a month, which incidentally it won't be, most things aren't, because when you're looking at Adobe and you can get the full suite of Adobe for about $50 a month, right? So I'm guessing that software would have been $40 a month or something like that somewhere.
I think what's important, James, obviously we're talking about after sales support and maintenance, but communication with your customers is key.
Of course it is. Because they're going to be a customer for the next product as well, usually.
As a software owner, as a software business, if you're not communicating upgrades, issues, problems with your customers, I'm sorry, it's a sad day, isn't it?
Definitely.
But trust me, guys, and we don't want to put you off lifetime deals here, do we, James? There are some golden nuggets out there. And a lot of the information we're giving you during this episode will go a long way to you making the correct buying decisions. But trust me when I say this, if you don't follow a lot of this advice, you will get burned. You will lose your money. Yeah. You will lose access to software. It's a fact.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we can both tell you that from personal experience, yeah?
For sure.
So yeah, if it's not obvious that the vendor has got a knowledge base, a proper support desk, in place, what do we do, James? We run a mile.
Yeah. Keep that. Go and look at your money and give it a stroke. Say, I'll keep you for a little bit longer. Lovely money.
I would say the key things regarding that people need to check, James, is the way that the support's offered. Is it phone, email, tickets, or all of those?
Yeah,
because you touched on a really great tool a minute ago, Intercom.
It's a great tool.
Fantastic as a support mechanism, isn't it?
Yeah, I use it for support myself. It's a great tool.
So that's a really key thing you need to check, guys. How is the support offered? How is it delivered to you? How can you request it? What methods are in place for that? Another one. Once you've put a support request in, how quickly did they answer? We touched on this earlier, James, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did they reply within an hour? Within a day?
I'll always I think
24 hours is
24
long,
hours.
James. Yeah.
I can accept 24 hours. Anything more than that, I think is unacceptable.
Especially when you consider that we're all on different time zones.
Exactly, and that's why I accept 24 hours.
So 24 hours, guys, is an acceptable period. Any longer than that is not good enough, frankly.
Not for me.
Not for me either. The other thing to consider with the support, did their answers prove useful? Did it help solve the issue you were facing?
Or did they just give you a stop
Or
line?
did they just give you a canned response?
Exactly. And that happens a lot.
And just in case you don't know what a canned response is, guys, it's basically a pre-prepared response to a general question. So the person hasn't written this out. They've literally just pressed a button and that's pre-filled, pre-populated, and they send it to you. That, for me, isn't giving support, James.
No, you can find all that in FAQs.
Yeah, exactly. That's what your FAQs are for those, those canned responses, basically. You get a lot of it now with bots, don't you?
Yeah.
You get the supposedly live chatbot that isn't actually live. Mm-hmm. It's just a sequence of canned responses, yeah?
In all fairness, though, some of them are incredible, though, because some of them will not just like a canned response, a general canned response, but they'll ask you, what's the problem here? 1, 2, 3. You click number 2, it then takes you to this, asks you another couple of questions, then it gives you the exact information. But some of them are not as quality as that.
No, again, it depends on the quality of the product usually, James, doesn't it? Yeah. If they've got a really good, professional chatbot in place, it's usually because they're taking their business seriously.
Oh, yeah.
And all these things, guys, the support, the knowledge base, professional chatbot, all these factors really go a long way to a business telling you how serious they are about their business.
Yeah. Because in my opinion, I think a good chatbot is worth the wages of one employee.
Yeah.
Because if you can literally extract all your knowledge into, and you've seen some chatbot flows, and then, I've seen chatbot flows many times, but I'm talking about ones that are literally hundreds of outcomes, and you're thinking, wow, that's incredible. You've literally done a brain dump.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, if you're not finding a knowledge base, James, if you're not finding an obvious support desk, the worst one is when they give you an email. I hate that. Because guess where a lot of emails goes, guys? Spam. You want a proper support desk link. Yeah. You want a proper knowledge base link. As James just said, if they've got a chatbot, make sure it's one that's actually helping you. Yeah. And not one of these with just a sequence of pre-filled canned responses that generally, James, don't they send you around in a circle, and you end up just getting frustrated and
and then did we solve your problem? No. Contact this email address. I'm like, you should have given me that at the start.
But yeah, I think eventually when you do get support, James, I think another factor that you need to consider is, were they polite and engaging?
Yeah.
It's just me, guys. A lot of support staff are some of the rudest people you'll ever come across.
Yeah.
You're their customer. You're their customer and they're being rude to you.
Yeah. A big shout. Incidentally, there was one that I was leaving recently, just not because the service wasn't good. The service was good, but it was just getting a bit too expensive for what it was. And I'm going to give it a shout out. 123 Reg. For domains, they were a bit more expensive than what I was getting elsewhere, and obviously I don't really need support there, but the support I got by transferring them over to my new hosting was exceptional. So much so I was almost tempted to stay with them after the experience. That's how good they were. So it's incredible how that makes a big difference.
And usually the way the support staff are trained and the way they deal with you as a customer is usually a big reflection on the vendor.
Yeah, on the brand. Yeah, absolutely.
They usually go hand in glove, James, don't they? If the vendor's serious about the business, serious about the software, they'll also be serious about the support because they want happy customers. Yeah.
Yeah, they want a brand ethos, and every element excretes that experience, and that's the way it should be.
The support you receive is a direct reflection of how good the software is generally, in my opinion, and where that company is going in the future. Mm-hmm. And again, that's another great question to ask guys in these LTD groups on the social media platforms. Ask about support. Mm-hmm. Guys, can I just ask you, when you've needed to ask for support, how was it? What was your experience? Mm-hmm. Trust me, all those communities, all the people in those communities, they're there to help each other and watch each other's backs, James, aren't they?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because trust me, if they're not happy about something, they're not shy in letting you know. Yeah. If there's a problem and you want to find out what the problems are before you decide to buy the deal, before you decide to buy the lifetime deal, that is, you'll find out in these groups.
Because let's be honest, guys, see if you've bought a product, the customer service has been horrible, and you've asked for a refund and they never gave you it. These guys take great pleasure in costing these people new customers, right? And really deservedly so. Deservedly so. If you've had a shit experience from a crap product, tell everybody and their dog so that you don't. Nobody else.
I'll give you a really good example of that, James. That happened recently, as you know, and we know because we both got the software. And again, we won't mention names, but there was a piece of software that me and James both use regularly that decided to convert all their lifetime deal customers to a subscription. Correct, James?
Yes.
The LTD community were not happy about this. No. So much so that they all posted negative reviews on a particular review site that took that software from a 5-star rating down to a 1 within a few days.
And lo and behold, guess what happened?
They reversed their action.
And
they then decided
the thing
they then decided to honor the lifetime deal.
Yeah.
So that these communities are powerful, guys. And you need to be asking these questions in those groups, in those communities, before you buy. Not after you buy, before you buy. They're a really great resource for you. So make sure you utilize them, yeah?
Absolutely.
Right, James, let's talk about some top LTD websites.
AppSumo, my favorite by far.
All right. Well, these are in no particular order, okay?
AppSumo, by far, the best. I love it.
These are in no particular order, guys. This list is not exhaustive. Again, if you type in lifetime deal sites, you'll be overwhelmed. There'll be hundreds of these sites. But the ones I'm going to mention are the top ones I know and I am aware of and that I would trust. Yeah?
Okay.
Some of these you will know, James. Some you probably won't. Again, in no particular order. Techlify. Techlofy. Techlify. Is that a new one to you, James?
Yes.
Okay. It's one of the top ones out there.
Okay.
The other one you are aware of, because we've mentioned it a few times during this episode, AppSumo.
Love it.
Guys, AppSumo is a £1,000 gorilla, James, isn't it?
Oh, it's a monster. And again, if you've got a product, and I want to kind of state the fact, a good product, something that people would love, it would be a great platform to get you out there and launch pretty quickly.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to make our viewers and listeners aware of, James, these are not small little websites, guys. These websites are responsible for doing millions of dollars of sales every year.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just because the support girl advertises it.
Yeah, you can buy through these sites with confidence, guys. Yeah. So that's Techlify and AppSumo. Another one, Stack Social.
Yeah, know that one.
Stack Social, another very popular one. As is PitchGround.
Yeah, know that.
I would say PitchGround and Stack Social are probably up there with AppSumo.
Right, okay.
As regards popularity, James.
I don't think I've spent any money with PitchGround. I've certainly bought Stack Social stuff before.
Yep. Yeah, very popular websites for lifetime deals. Another one, SaaS Mantra. SaaS Mantra. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Another very popular lifetime deal website, James. That. As is, you'll be aware of this one, Deal Mirror.
Deal Mirror.
Deal Mirror, yeah.
No, don't know that one either.
Deal Mirror, very, very popular. Again, responsible for massive sales every year.
There you go.
And then we've got another one, Deal Fuel.
I think I've heard of Deal Fuel, to be
Deal
honest.
Fuel.
Rings a bell.
And you'll probably have heard of the next one because, again, this is one of the big players, Dealify.
Dealify, yeah.
Dealify is a big player as well. Another one that I have come across occasionally, but from the research I've done, it's a very popular one, James. Rebellions.
Rebellions?
Or Rebel Alliance, whatever you want to call it. Rebel, Rebeliance. Rebellions, I think is the pronunciation. Okay. Again, from the research I've done, another very, very popular lifetime deal site. And another one you may have heard of, SaaSwiz.
No.
All these guys, by the way, half of them I'm familiar with. Half of them I bought things from and used personally. The other half, I'm aware of them, but I've never used them. But from the research I've done, James, obviously I do a lot of prep for the episode, as you know. Then these are the most popular ones online. So that was Rebellions and SaaSwiz. And last but not least, because as I said, they're not in any particular order, these guys, Lifetime Deal. Again, that's up there with AppSumo, Stack Social, PitchGround as one of the top sites, James. So sounds like you may have been made aware of a few new ones yourself there, James.
I am, and I've typed a few in. Just obviously, I know they'll be in later on, but I won't have the patience to wait till the notes come up. But obviously, the time everybody gets to see this
is a virtue. Unfortunately, it's a virtue that I don't possess. So
no, me neither.
But yeah, I mean, just as a summary for this entire episode, guys, for our viewers and listeners, as a summary. Don't be scared of lifetime deals because there really are some golden nuggets out there, James, aren't they, to be had. But you've got to do your research. You've got to do your due diligence, as we always say, guys, because it's super important. And a lot of the considerations and the questions you need to be asking before you buy, you can find the answers to these by doing your research online. More importantly, joining these online LTD communities in the social media platforms like Facebook. Trust me, join these communities. They will answer the majority of your questions before you purchase. Any other top tips from you, James?
No, I think just obviously remember that most people that are watching or listening right now, you've worked hard for your money.
Yeah.
Don't give it away just because some silver-tongued devil's giving you a great sales spiel for a piece of software that you probably don't need, but they're making you think that you can't live without it. Think about it. Take a step back and see the vision that you've got for your business. How does it look? Is this a part of it that you need right now? Because if it's not, believe me, it will be there in 6 months. In actual fact, it might be $5 a month dearer or more expensive, should I say. But do you know what? Think of the money that you saved over that 6 months. You didn't use it, and it's probably going to be better by then anyway. So it's been tried and tested,
Yeah, and it's not just about asking the questions that we've gone through and looking at the considerations we've gone through in this episode, James. It's questioning yourself as well. Is this solving a solution for me? Is it saving me time? Is it saving me money in the long run? Is it educating me in some way?
Yeah.
If it's not at least ticking one of those boxes, then why are you buying it?
No, it's no point. And another thing, guys, I want to kind of put in there as well. If you're someone that doesn't like change, buying a lifetime deal might not be for you, because see, when you're buying a product at beta level, there is things that you're going to be doing and they will have a process right now. But 3 months' time, that process could be completely turned on its head, and then there's a new process. And 6 months from there, it might be completely different again. If you're not prepared to move and adapt with this beta phase of the product, wait until it comes live, genuinely, because...
And there's lots of examples. There's lots of examples of platforms we use on a regular basis, James, out there, that the products they were at the lifetime deal or the launch,
It's not the same.
and the product they are now, it's night and day, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, in particular, Groove.
Yeah.
Groove was very problematic at the start, and there was certain things that just didn't quite gel because it just didn't integrate. But people that were buying in thought they could go and run wild with it there and then, but they're now having to go back and fix things because the system's different.
Yeah.
And things like that. You've got to be aware that this is what you're taking on when you buy a beta phase. So if you're not prepared for a rocky road, then probably
we're not saying in any way that lifetime deals cannot be a good purchase, James, are we?
Oh no, not at all.
What we're saying is, guys, there's some key considerations, like, are there upgrade options? Is it going to a subscription model after the launch, after the lifetime deal? That for me is a critical one.
Yeah.
Because if that business model isn't being followed, where's the income coming from?
Yeah. And your lifetime deals are hopeless now.
To sustain that software for the long term.
Yeah, exactly.
So everything we've gone through in this episode, guys, are really, key questions to ask, key considerations to be looking into before you purchase. I emphasize that, before you purchase. Because after you purchase, too late. You've then got to go through the hassle of getting a refund if you're not happy. Mm-hmm. And trust me, with a lot of vendors, that isn't as easy as it sounds.
No. You would better just write it off because the time it'll take you to get the money, So yeah. Can I make sure that it's the right type of vendors and make sure that you trust the vendors and you trust the platform that it's coming from. There is platforms out there, and again, for me, I've never bought anything from my personal experience. I'm not saying that you will the same experience, have the same experience as I did, but AppSumo has always been pretty solid. They deliver what they say. Yeah. But
I mean, that don't get me wrong, James. That's fair comment. And AppSumo are a great company, great platform. But there's a point that their responsibility ends, isn't it?
Oh, of course.
The responsibility at the end of the day ultimately is down to the software developers and the vendors.
Definitely.
And my top tip for this episode to all our viewers and listeners is, if you are considering buying lifetime deals, guys, whether, occasionally or on a consistent basis, join the LTD communities, because all these considerations we've mentioned, all the questions you need to be asking, all the factors you need to be taking into consideration will all be answered in those group communities. Yeah. And trust me, that all the members in those groups, in those online communities, they're not shy at giving you their opinion.
No, especially if they've been burned.
Especially if they've been burned, yeah. They will give you, you'll get a lot of varied opinions, guys, don't get me wrong. But trust me, you'll get a really good gauge for the positive and the negative, and then it's up to you to decide whether the positives outweigh the negatives, yeah?
Exactly. Tony, anything else before we wrap up?
No, James, I think that is it for this episode. Hopefully our viewers and listeners have found it helpful, and that points them in the right direction when they're thinking of purchasing their next lifetime deal.
Yeah, well, Tony, this has been an excellent episode. I thoroughly enjoyed this one because, as I say, I do buy quite a lot of lifetime deals. But again, I'm a bit kind of Teflon coated now to the BS. I don't buy into the BS as much as I used to do. And now, obviously, when I do buy something, more often than not, it's a product that's going to be there and stand the test of time. And I just hope that our viewers and listeners have gained that type of value from us, especially some of the ones that, especially some of the sites that we've spoke about today, where you can actually buy these lifetime deals. I think there's definitely a lot of scope there to kind of grow your business. But remember, only buy it if you need it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see
just one thing to finish on, James. Again, from hindsight, eyesight's a great thing, isn't it? Yeah. We can all learn from that. But what we're trying to do is save our viewers and listeners having to spend thousands and thousands of dollars before they have that hindsight. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
we want to save them the money before they go through that whole process. Yeah.
I've just got a feeling, though, Tony, that if we ever attend an internet marketing convention and some of our viewers and listeners are there, I would expect that we won't need to buy too many pints of beer.
Let's hope
because the money we've saved them is unbelievable from our own experiences. And again, genuinely, guys, we give it completely freely. We don't expect the beer, but single malt whiskies are always welcome.
We've got the benefit of hindsight, haven't we, James, from experience of buying these lifetime deals over a long period of time. That inevitably costs people a lot of money, doesn't it, getting that experience?
Too much money.
We want to save our viewers and listeners having to go through that process.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, comment in the notes, and if you've got any questions, reach out to us, guys. Comment in the YouTube channel. We'll always reply, whether it's me or Tony. We always reply to you. And again, if there's something a bit more in depth that we can help you with, we gladly give our time to you guys. We appreciate you for listening and watching. And again, just reach out to us, and we will be happy to help.
Yeah. So, guys, lifetime deals. Do not be scared of them. There is a place in the market for them, and there are some gold nuggets to be had. But take the notes from this episode, the key things you need to be considering, the key factors, the questions you need to be asking, and trust me, you will not be wasting any money.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Tony. Really appreciate it. Great episode. Guys, we really hope you enjoyed this episode of Those Two IM Guys. And we look forward to seeing you again or speaking to you again very, very soon. Take care. Bye.
Take care, guys. Bye for now.
Thanks for joining Those Two IM Guys today. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to tune in next time for more interesting subjects, hints and tips on running your internet marketing business.